Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. Here we are looking at Bitcoin US dollar index on the weekly time frame, going back to when the trading view dinosaurs were just entering this Bitcoin maze of chutes and ladders. Um, so let's get into it. There are a bunch of parallel channels drawn here on the chart. It's kind of messy here in the middle. But what I do want to point out first off is this red channel that has described Bitcoin price action essentially since March of 2013. Bitcoin has continuously traded within this channel for the most part, oscillating every bull market and bear market within the channel. Slightly outside it here, and possibly, I'm not sure. I don't want to zoom in right now, but poked out of it just slightly here in 2017. Rode along the bottom of it here, but it's essentially all within the channel. The other thing to note is that Bitcoin price action has been depicted by these parabolic runs every cycle, followed by bear markets, is what people call them. But if you look at the whole picture here, what you have is an overall bull trend in the Bitcoin market. Um, as it rises in price and then has bull flag pullbacks. Typically, what you'd see in a bull market run, you'd see price increase, you'd see a bull flag pullback, pricing a little run, a little pullback, a little run, a little pullback, a little run, a little pullback, and this is where we are currently at. In all these channels, all these parabolic runs, all the pullbacks are perfectly parallel to one another. Now, do they oscillate within these channels? Of course, but price action can be described by trading within these channels. And if you zoom in, you can see how we traded in the upper portion, oscillated within the upper portion of this channel. And even right here, right on the center line, we traded on this channel. You can clearly see in the parabolic bull run, how we traded within the lower half of this channel. Here, you can just see how we oscillated right along the center line of this channel. Same thing here. So you can't deny these facts. Look at how price action traded right within this parallel channel. Now these are all perfectly parallel to one another, and it's done this time and time and time again. It's a little sloppy here in the beginning, but I think Bitcoin was drunk or something like that. So aside from these very proper channels, all lined up nicely, well behaved, um, we have these crazy channels crisscrossing all over the place. And what's important about those channels is that they all come together right here, this moment in time, where I exist and about which the entire world revolves. And we'll get to those in a second because I do see other lines that I have to tell you about here. These blue vertical lines represent the halving, Bitcoin halving events. And this one is estimated around mid-April of 2024. Now, of note, these are not 4 years apart. You'll hear a lot of people talking about the 4 year cycle. 4 year cycle. It's not a 4 year cycle if it's based on the halving events. The halving events, this one happened in December 2012, this one happened in June of 2016. Doesn't take a genius to figure out that's not 4 years. It's like almost 3.5 years. And then June 2016 to May, that's almost 4 years, but not quite. And then this one from May till April is again not quite 4 years. So you got those that are not quite 4 years uh, influencing the market a little bit. So every cycle is not exactly the same as these channels would have you believe. There's slight differences. Um, and that'll be important in a little bit here. You also see some horizontal lines here, little dashed lines every cycle. That's from another analysis where I tried to estimate where the um, price would be at the Bitcoin halvings. And the white lines represent where the price would be at the halvings. And sure enough, that's where they are each time here. Each time. Where's the white? Oh, the white line's right there. But anyway, so we got that. So back to these crazy parallel channels that are all askew to everybody else and acting all weird. We have and you've heard me talk about these in videos recently. We have the white channel here, the zombie channel, I call it, because I had not remembered. I probably had this channel drawn earlier in Bitcoin's history, maybe like a year ago or so, and hadn't continued on with it as I moved on to, as I filled charts up with lines and had to move on to new charts and create new channels and such. But it's back. The white channel is back. Then you have the green channel, which is, well, let me zoom in a little bit. You have two green channels, one on top of another here. I'm interested in the lower one, which runs perfectly parallel to our overall red channel that holds in the Bitcoin price action, which we travel in through decades. And then you have this blue channel. Now, of note, all these channels do interact with Bitcoin price action historically. This green channel obviously contains a lot of Bitcoin price action history going all the way back here to April 2013. And we traded in it much of this time in 2017 and 2016. And you'll see up here that we have traded with Infinite recently as well. The blue line has a big gap here, but did interact with Bitcoin back here in the early days in 2010. Let's zoom in a little bit to see what it did here. You kind of see where it came right down about to it there. But whatever. I could be just grasping. Whatever here. So, also the green channel here, switch back to the green channel, starts from this all-time high in June of 11. And the white channel starts at this high in November of 2013. Now, of note, so this high June of 2011. That's not a November. And then we had a high here in April of 2013 and another one in November 2013. So that's interesting. We seem to have the highs in April and November, and apparently in June. Um, and here, 4 years later, again in December, close enough. Let's see when this peak was. That one was in June. Now, after this in December, did we have another? Yeah, April had another little rally there. And then this thing here in June, interestingly enough. And our last cycle, yes, first we had one in April and then in November. This cycle around, and these have all been 4 years apart, December 2017. However, April of 2021, where we had our first high here, wasn't 4 years later, it was only 3.5 years later. And then this one was 4 years from this one. And I'll get back to that in a minute because you'll see why. So back to these crazy skewed channels that are not parallel to one another or anything else other than this green one here. These are the channels in which we are trading currently. And I will switch to a chart with the daily time frame to show you what's going on. You'll see a bunch of circles here. Forgive those, but I was showing on another video all the contact points for this blue channel. Lots of precise contact points because this blue channel was very key in describing our current price action right here. Let's go to this guy here, turn this guy on. Currently, we are trading right below. That's essentially what we're doing. Now, on other videos, I've had an ascending triangle, which we've broken out of. I tried to confine this to a bunch of different kinds of geometric structures, but obviously what we're doing is trading along the bottom of the blue channel, and we will break back up into it momentarily. And since it can be argued, since we had the FTX collapse here, we have been trading in this blue channel. Came to the bottom of it here in January, and since January we've been traveling up nicely through it. Out a little bit the top here, and lots of interaction here along the center line. Center lines and parallel channels are always very important because they do act as the key trend line of the channel, and price action trades about them, enclosed pretty much by the edges of the channels. But quickly, because I've been going on for a long time, let's get to the point. We are. So the white channel we had been trading in originally since the June collapse. Down to the bottom here, back up here, and then we fell out during FTX. And that's probably why I forgot about it. But you can see, hey, you know what? Price action is also trading within this white channel. Not as, all the way to the bottom and all the way to the top here. We're not coming all the way down. We do come up to the top here. We did come up to the top here as we traded outside the blue channel. Um, and then, yeah, down to the bottom here, the white channel. Currently, we're at the top, close to the top of the white channel. So, yeah, the white channel is containing price action further back than the blue channel. Let me get off of the auto. Now, the green channel. So, the green channel acts as our transition. We are trading in the green channel as well since back here in September of 22. A little bit above it here because that's when we were in the white channel. But so, yes, we've been trading within this green channel too, which is the bottom of the red channel, the much larger red channel, which all those other parallel channels I had on the other weekly chart, I've removed them from the daily chart just to have these guys here, with one exception. Here on the weekly chart, you do see these green parabolic channels. And the one we haven't had our parabolic run in yet, I've marked in orange just so it's clearer here when we get to that part. So I believe the green channel is transitioning us from the white channel into the blue channel, and that's what we're doing currently here, going back into the blue channel. Now I imagine so this is where we leave the white channel. We are most probably not going to interact with the white channel anymore here. And so imagine us I don't know what we're going to do here. If we're going to get sticky here in this area because we got we're breaking out of the white one, out of the green one, and into the blue one. So let's just see what happens. Now, here's our halving event in April. At the halving event, remember that white line I talked about? The white line goes back to this previous high. That's where the price has been at the halving. At every halving, it's gone back to the previous high. Second down, the most distinguished high, second down from the top, pretty much. And I'm not into fibs and all that other kind of stuff. I think people really kind of want price action. You draw a bunch of sideways lines and try to put this point at that point and whatever and make them fit. I don't know. So what's very, very interesting is at the halving event, this white line, which is at 48,000, which I've talked about time and time again, the price at the halving will be 48,000. Also is the top of our green channel. That is very, very, very interesting. Also, the price where the parabolic run starts, which is this red line, and these lines I drew entirely on their own based on other things in the chart back here. And I predicted that this would be in June, late June, early July. Just happens to coincide with the top of the green parallel channel here in late June, early July. I just find very coincidental that all these things line up so perfectly. So we know what we're going to be during at the halving, 48,000 right here. We know where we're going to be in June when we start our parabolic run. The orange channel is where our parabolic run will occur, here in this lower portion of the orange channel. So we don't know what price action is going to be up to the halving. I postulated that we have a nice bull run here up to 62,000. Where would that 58 to 62,000 I've said. Let's just put our cursor on 60. Late January. Yep. This all fits together perfectly. That would be the top of our blue channel, about $60,000. Now, keep in mind that we have ridden outside the blue channel slightly back here. So I do believe that here we come through here and continue oscillating, maybe in the lower half, maybe in the upper half, might drop down, have some big pullbacks. Well, we will here. But in late January, I expect us to be up around $58,000, $60,000, maybe 62. I think I got 62 from some other point back here. Something back here, maybe. And then from here, I believe we will have a pullback down to where are we at? There's so many lines. I'm confused now. Here, 48,000. So up here, boom, boom, boom. Back down here, boom, boom, boom. Over here, and then off to the races. And those are the movements between these various channels. I wanted to make it a little bit more clear for everybody. Now, let's go on a little bit more. Because I remember I did say something about the time between these heights. So, 4 years. You know, 4 years from here is from these points is going to get us into 2025. I think this cycle around is coming faster. Um, well, not faster because the halving events are not exactly 4 years. They're like 3.5, 3 3/4, whatever. After several cycles, you have a whole year kind of extra getting in the way. I think we need to clear that out now. So I think 3.5 years from April of 2021 would get us to November of 2024. I think that the highs that we see, who knows? I'm just speculating now. I think I honestly think, and I've heard other people like Tyler say this too, that I believe the high is coming in November of 24. Let's go to November of 24. Um, Here. So our blue channel in November of 24 was about 125,000. That's not very high. So, but I think we get a double top. I mean, we get a high in November. Could we fall out of this channel? I don't think we're going to fall out of this orange channel. Well, maybe in November we're up here more in this part of the channel. Could be too. Maybe we come up. Who knows? I think so. Let's say in November. Let's say November because I've always liked 187,000 and 225,000, and I don't remember why those numbers. I think they they were on a much more macro analysis of lines that I drew between previous highs and stuff like that. So let's say 187,000. Let's put some X's here in November. That's about as close as we're going to get there. And then let's put another one at 225. I'm just kind of seeing if this is going to work out. 225 in April. Well, let's just go here where we're going to be in April without going outside this channel. Oh, we can't get there. As far as we can go is March on the daily time frame. So close enough. That's going to be that's pretty high, $340,000. Let's see where 225 is. And we are about in April right here, 225. Right there. Now, if we did make it till June and had a third peak, I'm sorry, not June. April to November. Oh, I can't estimate where that is. Well, if this was November 11 to here, which would be 16. Um, so about here should be November. And we'd be back in the blue channel. What is this crazy triangle guy doing here? Could we see something like this? That's not a very good one. Let's start back here. Hey, why aren't I drawing? What happened? Why aren't I drawing? Excuse me. I want to draw. There we go. That's pretty nice. Something like that. Maybe we get a triple top this time around. What do you think? Could be. Could be. Anyway, it's all fun and games, but this is all entire speculation up here. We don't know what's going to happen. But what is not? What is this little blue dot right here? What is that little blue dot? Nobody knows. Oh, it's an extra little point. All right, so the point of this video was transitioning from the white, using the green to transition into the blue. So that's that. Like, subscribe. See you next time.